You're good to go.
Thanks, Sharon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to our speaker series. As Sharon said, tonight we're focusing on employment because October is National Disability Employment Month. Employment is near and dear to my heart. I began my career at Ray Graham Association as an employment specialist many years ago. And I have seen the employment opportunities totally transform people's lives. And employment has been a very important pillar of our organization for many years. So I'm really excited that this evening we are focusing on this topic. And I'm also very excited that we have three wonderful presenters, Debbie Lynch, Nicole Cosentino, and Marianne Peck. I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about Debbie. Debbie's one of our own. Debbie is one of our job developers in our employment services program. Debbie worked for us for 4 years previously, left for a little bit, and then found herself back at Ray Graham Association in November of last year. And we could not be more excited to have Debbie back with us. She's truly a driving force when it comes to placing people in jobs. And it's not just placing people in jobs. Debbie is so impactful when it comes to making that right match. And really that's what it's all about, is we believe that anyone can work. It's a matter of just making sure that it's the right opportunity for people in the right environment. Debbie is a master at networking. She's well connected in her community and has been able to connect Ray Graham Association with township leaders and other leaders in communities to focus on positive outcomes. I mean, Debbie really understands the need to build lasting relationships, and it's those relationships that really tie into success for people. Debbie has studied human services, and she's actually been in the field for more than 25 years. She's also worked at NEDSRA for 25 years and at Claire Woods Academy for 5 years as a job coach. Debbie is really involved in the Carroll Stream Women's Club and has served on school boards for the past 6 years. She's a mom of 5 and a brand new grandma. So congratulations, Debbie. And it is truly her passion. And I think you'll understand that when she starts talking, working with people with intellectual disabilities and other special needs populations, whether it be through employment or recreation or just other opportunities that arise. So Debbie, thank you for sharing with us tonight. Next, I want to share a little bit about Nicole. Nicole began working at the Carey Company in 2011 after graduating from Elmhurst College. She was originally hired as a human resources intern and was taught to interview candidates for open positions. In addition to helping with HR tasks, she assisted customer service and the storage account departments, which gave her a better overview of how the company functioned. Her favorite responsibilities included meeting new job applicants and connecting them with a role and a team that not only can make an impact on the organization, but on the person as well. She also enjoys collaborating with other internal teams, such as the Carey Cares, which strives to be involved in the local community and give back to charitable organizations. Outside the office, she loves taking her 3 children on adventures and also going for solo walks where she can pop on, a good audiobook and probably get some rest and relaxation there. Marianne Peck, thanks Marianne for joining us. Marianne is with the Division of Rehabilitation Services, the major entity in Illinois that actually funds for people with intellectual and other types of disabilities to become employed. Marianne has been with the division since 2003. As a rehabilitation counselor, and in 2005 became a senior rehabilitation counselor. So she's been at the agency for 19 years, working with adults with various disabilities and helping them to obtain employment. She's also the liaison with the Oak Park River Forest High School and has been doing that since 2004. Marianne is passionate about her work and really enjoys helping her customers to find employment and find success in their life. So once again, thank you also very much for being here. I want to thank our speakers again, and I look forward to a great evening together. Debbie, I believe I'm going to turn it over to you first.
Good evening. I'm Debbie. I won't go into the whole spiel about myself because Kim already took care of that. Thank you, Kim. So I want to introduce who we are. We are a team of 8 who specialize in finding jobs for the right employer for the right person. So our team consists of 8 of us. I'm just going to go through them. Deanna Kane, our administrator of employment services. Bob Griffin, our vocational assessor. Kay Harris, our job developer and job coach, who is magnificent. Bridget Mason, job developer. Mary Snaldi, job developer. Patricia Hood, another job developer, and our newest member, Joe Savone, who is a job developer. They're on tonight in case there's any questions you may have, they can answer too. So if you're wondering who we are and what we do, I'll explain our department. We are a team who will assist you or your loved one in finding the right job or fit with the right employer. Our retention rate is 85%, which is pretty high and pretty impressive. We provide many services in our department. Sharon, if you could change the slide. Thank you. Our department will work directly with you to conduct intake process, which consists of getting to know you and what drives you each and every day. Job developers will conduct a job inventory assessment to determine which job is the right fit for you. And we'll ask you a couple of questions. Some of the questions may be, what is your dream job? What hours are you looking for? Are you looking for full-time or part-time? Do you have any environmental choices? Meaning, do you want to work outdoors? Do you want to work indoors? Do you need a quiet place to work at? Our team will assist with the job application. We'll follow up on applications and any leads that you may have out in the community. We speak with potential employers. We also do mock interviews prior to your scheduled interview. During your interview, we work directly with you and the employer to make sure the interview process goes well and is successful. We also offer job exploration classes. We work with many school districts offering this class. At this time, we are working with Lake Park High School and Elgin School District, just to name a few districts. We also get students ready to go into the workforce and get them excited about successful employment. We are available to attend in-person interviews. We do phone interviews on a 3-way call. We've done virtual interviews also. Our team stands out because we are available holidays, weekends, evenings with job coaching. We never sleep. Or Our goal is to make sure we are there for you and make sure we have the right fit and make you successful in your job. We've gone through the intake, which means we meet you in the community to discuss employment. We will meet you at a library or any setting that you're comfortable with. We start the intake process, which is the assessment, discovery plan, and fill out any necessary paperwork, goals, and we also do releases. That releases some allowing us to go in and talk to the employer about you and your skills. We speak to employers on a one-on-one basis. We want to make sure it's a right fit for the employer and for you. That's how we build our partnership. At the next meeting, we'll set up a meeting and then we'll go over how to do a resume. And start looking for jobs that fit your needs. We will fill out applications with you, either online or on paper. We work as a team because this is not our job, this is your job. So we want to be there to support you. After that step, our committed job developers will follow up with potential employers to set up an interview, either in person or virtual. So the following step is doing a mock interview to support the interview process. And the goal is to get you the interview and the job. Now, hopefully you've been offered the job. And this is your chance to shine out. We offer on-job training to establish natural support between you and the employer. When you're comfortable and don't need the training, we offer behind-the-scenes support through phone calls and meetings to support any concerns or questions you may have about your employment. So if you want to find that meaningful job, look no further. We're here to assist you in your job search. On this slide, you will see a couple of our potential men who have employment. We have one gentleman who works at Parkstown. Our employment team is very dedicated. So we will be out there to help you along the way. Sharon, if you want to change the slide. Thank you. Our employment team work in partnership with 150 employers throughout DuPage County, King County, Will County, Cook County, Grundy County, and all other surrounding counties. Some employees we have a relationship with Cary Company, Marquette School District, Outback Steakhouse, Planet Fitness, Texas Roadhouse, Goodwill, Hallmark, Myers, and many more. We partake with local townships, including Bloomingdale, Winfield, Joliet, Elgin to aid in grant funding for vocational services. We conduct job exploration classes and we attend students' IPEs in high school to prepare the students to enter workforce. We also partnership with the Department of Rehabilitation Services, which is located in Downers Grove, Westchester, Eldon, Joliet, and now serving Rolling Meadows. To ensure everyone with a disability has the opportunity to find a meaningful job in the community. I would like to introduce Nicole Castellino from the Carey Company.
All right. Hi, everybody. I hope everyone's having a great evening. I am Nicole Cosentino. I'm from the Carey Company, and we started partnering with Ray Graham a little bit over a year ago. And we have two wonderful employees that I'm going to speak about a little bit at the end. But I'll start with telling people a little bit about what the Carey Company is, because most people have no idea. We are not that Jewel or Meyer brand that was just on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about what we do, a little bit about our culture, and then the success stories that we have. So the Carey Company, we distribute packaging supplies. So basically any kind of empty container you can think of, paint cans, pails, drums, jars, bottles, all the caps and closures to go with them. So really riveting product line, right? Very exciting. I always tell people, man, I wish we sold clothes or something cool. But it's definitely a product that people need. And we're a growing business. We're just in distribution. We don't make any products. So that means that if customers come to us and they're looking for a specific product that we don't have, we don't say no. We're going to go look for someone who makes that product and be able to quote our customer and hopefully make a sale. So kind of an ever-changing product line, an ever-changing customer base too. We have a lot of diversity in our customer base as well, because they're empty containers, right? So you can fill them with just about anything. So a little bit about our culture. We're located in Addison, and we like to really enjoy our lives at work. It's kind of the cliche of work hard, play hard. We have a lot to do. We're busy. We're growing. We've acquired some new companies. We're expanding the states that we have locations in. But we do also like to have fun. So some of those things, some of the perks of working at the Carey Company would be that we have a full gym on site, that people shoot hoops at lunchtime or play ping pong, get to know coworkers that way, and being able to, again, being able to step back from work and say, hey, at lunch today, do you want to go kick a soccer ball around with me in the gym, or be able to, again, play ping pong or something where you're able to get to know coworkers on a level outside of just, oh, you're so-and-so and you work in accounting. You get to actually know your coworkers. So it's something that we're always striving for. Another thing that, another kind of culture perk we have is we do Fun Fridays. So that is when we take an hour or so off in the afternoons on Fridays. And we do different events. Those events vary from something as easy as a cookout, where we'll grill. We have a pretty big patio. We'll grill hot dogs and hamburgers and do a cookout, or all the way to things that are a little bit more involved, where we'll do scavenger hunts around the office for different things. Or we've done mini golf, frisbee golf, bags tournaments. So there's a lot of different things that we do. Again, being able to get to know your coworkers, really kind of embrace the people that you're working with. So you're not just coming into work and doing your job, and you are also having a good time and getting to build those relationships with fellow employees. We do also try to be able to be involved in the community. So one of my favorite parts of working at the Carey Company is being involved in like our organization called the Carey Cares. So Carey Cares is we meet monthly and try to host different activities every month, being able to give back to a certain charity or an organization that is near and dear to an employee's heart. So we do different fundraising events. For instance, October, as most people know, is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we do some events like a bake sale. We've done raffle baskets. This week we did s'mores on our patio, and people roasted s'mores, and we did all the different toppings for them. So again, a way just to be able to connect with coworkers and be involved with the company or outside of just your role. I will now speak on the two employees that we have that we were partnered with through Ray Graham, both wild success stories. And I know this because I do speak with them, but I also spoke with their manager prior to speaking tonight, and he had just done the reviews and he had nothing but positive things to say. So it's also in writing how wonderful it's been working with these two employees. So they work in our warehouse, being able to help with some packaging, helping with shipping some of the items that we have. Sometimes products will come in on a pallet of maybe 10,000 items, and they'll repackage them to smaller quantities for some of our customers that aren't ready or that aren't ready to buy a whole pallet of products. So being able to work with a team is definitely part of their day-to-day. It's kind of been cool to see them coming out of their shell, right? When they first started, they were a little hesitant, like any new employee, right? Not knowing who to go to for different questions maybe, or just being shy. And now to be able to hear them on the radio in the warehouse and being able to hear that communication coming out and really coming out of their shell has been awesome. So definitely two of our very reliable and dependable employees, and that's something that really stood out to our managers and to HR is that attendance, which has been spot on and has been amazing. So that's something that I can definitely speak very highly on is that dedication, getting in the role, learning the role, and then being there on a reliable schedule. So that's been huge. Also, I jotted down a couple other notes again from a manager. So the one of the fun ones was what a great baker one of our employees is. So that she's come with treats and all sorts of things. I guess this week there was an apple crumble cake. So again, that being able to connect with coworkers in a different way, getting to know what their interests are, supporting those, and being able to, again, being a part of that team. So that's kind of one of the more fun ones. But again, just seeing that confidence being built through the roles that they've been in, as well as helping our team grow. They with helping our managers too with their mentoring and being able to work with an employee with disabilities. That's something that our managers weren't honestly familiar with prior to about a year and a half ago. So it's been really great to see our managers really also step out of their shells and being able to expand their coaching and their mentoring. So we're really excited about that aspect as well. That's kind of a perk that we weren't thinking of, but has been wonderful to see kind of how our managers have grown and how some employees have really taken on some leadership and some more accountability, being able to help in different areas as well. So I just want to kind of end on what a positive impact these employees have with us. We're very pleased with the partnership that we have with Ray Graham, the support that they provided, that Ray Graham provided through the hiring process. Like Debbie was just mentioning, kind of being able to prepare them for the interview process and everything. It was a smooth transition, as well as then the on-site job coaching when employees first started, to make sure that everybody was confident in their roles and they were ready to go. So that has been great. And the success that we've had has just been amazing, getting employees who really truly care about the work they're doing, and they take that seriously. And that's something that's really hard to find sometimes. And we have definitely hit the jackpot. So we're very fortunate and very happy with our partnership. I don't. Oh, yeah, I was going to see. I have to see who's up after me.
Okay. Thanks, Nicole. I'm Marianne Peck. I'm from the DRS in Westchester. Some of you may have heard of us as originally as DOORS, but we are now called Division of Rehab Services. So tonight I'm going to just explain the process of getting a case open with DRS and having us help you find employment. The first step in terms of accessing DRS services is making a referral to us via the website or calling our main number to make a referral. Then once the referral is made, it's assigned by the supervisor to a counselor in the office, and that counselor will reach out to you to schedule appointment for an intake, and that reaching out may be through email, phone, or a letter to schedule the appointment for the intake. Some of the items that you'll need to have when you have your appointment to do the intake would be a copy of your state ID, copy of your health insurance card, documentation of disability, your SSI or SSDI war letter, a resume. And with the intake, it basically, we ask some questions in terms of getting what your work history is, what kind of education you have, and what your social situation is, so we know what kind of supports you have to help you find work. And one big part that we ask for is documentation of your disability, and documentation can involve either an IEP from when you were in high school, medical records, a psychological eval. If you don't have that information with you, we can get it through a release of information, or say you've had testing to document a learning disability or ADHD, we can pay for new testing to be done. And once we have the information from the intake and the documentation, we use that to determine eligibility for services. And what eligibility involves is, do you have a disability that makes it difficult for you to get and maintain a job, and can you benefit from services? And if that's yes, then you and your counselor will develop a plan of services for the job you're seeking. Your counselor will call it an individualized plan of employment, which is an IPE. And in the plan, it will have the job you're seeking and the services that you'll need to reach your goal. One of the services that an individual will need is placement services. We have many vendors that we work with, including Ray Graham, Oak Leyden, Aspire, and many others. And they provide assistance with developing resumes, interview prep, job coaching, and helping you apply to jobs. And every 8 weeks, while you're working with that particular vendor, there'll be a staffing with you, the job developer, and your DRS counselor to discuss the progress towards employment and maintaining employment. And after you work the job for 90 days, we would close your case, but we can always reopen it. If you end up having problems where you're at risk of losing a job, you can contact us and we can reopen your case. So that's all that I have.
Thank you, Mary. And Deanna is on, and she will, be summarizing how our organization, the employer and DRS works together. Also, for the participants, we really want people to leave today with a good understanding of how they can be able to connect with us, how to be able to connect with employers, the services that are available. So Deanna, you can cover a little, kind of tie for the audience, how that all connects.
Thank you. Okay, sounds good. Thank you for participating. First, my name is Deanna. I am the Employment Administrator for Ray Graham Association for the Employment Service Department. And again, thank you for participating in this very special edition of Speaker Series, National Disability Employment Awareness Month. We are so grateful to recognize those employers and partnership who has just dedicated their services to help people become successful in the community and helping us place people with disabilities in the right fit and in the right jobs. The RGAES team, we work very hard to provide excellent customer service to people with disabilities. And we work together as a team. We build a great partnership, and building a great partnership, part of that partnership, in order for us to connect with employers, we first have a referral process. And through that referral process is DRS, who we have forged a wonderful partnership. As Debbie stated earlier, some of the partnerships we have is within the Will County DRS office, Elgin DRS office, Downers Grove DRS office, Westchester DRS office, and now we have a partnership with the Rolling Meadows office. In order to start that process, DRS will generate a referral to us, and sometimes we generate our own referrals to DRS, which means we're having people come into DRS for that intake process. Once Marianne is done with that process, she will refer them back to us, but that's not where it stops. That partnership and relationship continues on throughout the entire process of a person's, from the day they walk into ES to do their intake process until they actually get their job. And while they're still on the job, that process is still in play with DRS. And that's anywhere from 8-week staffing that is conducted with the person supported, with an ES job developer team member, with DRS counselors. We all work hand in hand to make sure that that people with disability achieve the success that they need to be successful in order to move forward with having a job. Part of that partnership is with employers. National Employment Disability Awareness Month. This month, we've distributed to our top 4 employers some very prestigious certificate of appreciation. And not only did we do that, we featured them on our social media page. And so it wasn't just the top 4 employers that we recognize out of 150 employers, but the employers that we're currently working with, they also received those certificates as well. As we can't post everyone on social media, we did just recognize the people who has had that longevity with us or did something very special in supporting people we support that may have created positions for them. So those are some of the things that we do in order to keep those great partnerships and keep building those partnerships. The team is on tonight and they're watching, and they are ready and willing to help anyone that you may have in your family, your friends, someone you know who is in need of services, who we can help. Again, we provide great customer service, nights, weekends, holidays, whatever their need to be successful. Ray Graham ES team will ensure that that success happen, along with the partnerships of the Carey Company, along with the partnership with the DRS office in Westchester. These employers and DRS partnerships have been very good to us and very good to the people that we support. So again, the right fit and natural support is what we're looking and seeking to help people with, those dream jobs. We want to get them closer to what they want to do. So if you know someone, if you want to put in a chat, if you have any questions that you want to ask us, we are here at the end of this segment to answer any of your questions, and please enjoy the rest of the speaker series. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. We're going to share a video now of a couple very successful people that found the right job and found that right fit with the right employer. So if you'll give me 1 second, I'll get the video started.
I work in Texas Roadhouse, Aurora 95th Street. I roll silverware. I do brown sugar, kids menus, window sills, and if needed, me and Ryan clean up the garbage from the front parking lot. JR. I need the money and I need a little break from my friends. And, well, I love this place too much. This place is amazing. Mary, my job coach, and Latanya, my staff, helped me get this job. Well, I love working here because the bosses are very nice. The surrounding of this place is amazing. And the people I meet here is nice. Well, the transportation, the police bus, and you know what that means. Bum, bum, bum! Thank you so very much for helping me get this job.
Olive Garden in Naperville, Upstate Mall, and I'm a hostess.
What do you do as a hostess?
I take reservations, people who call and call ahead. I see people, give them their menus and serve it room. I clean windows, do a bathroom check.
Is it pretty busy in your position?
Oh yes. I filled the application online. My dad helped me. Then after that, I went for orientation at Olive Garden and Richard was there.
How was orientation? What did you learn?
Well, very non-stick shoes and watch out for broken glass. I have a cloud app on my iPhone and it has my schedule on it.
And what other things does it tell you that you can do on that app?
Well, if people were to be sick or something, I can pick up the shifts from working.
So that's just one way that you use technology, right, to help you determine your work hours?
Yes,
Is it very helpful?
yes it is. Sometimes my dad, but when I'm out with my boyfriend, if he doesn't work, he'll come and pick me up so that way my dad does not have to say, I'm out in the parking lot, where are you? We work as a teamwork. I have a brother who's Robert, but it's only a nickname.
Is he a coworker of yours?
Yes, he is. And whenever we have music on playing, he likes the marching one.
Okay. And then what's the last thing that you really like about working as a hostess?
I like to interact with people and children. Bridget from Playground,
And how did she help you?
job coach.
Okay. And how did she help you during the interview orientation?
Oh,
For both, okay. And if you had any problems at work, what would you do?
or either like go to my manager, whoever is the boss of the day. I like all the soups. I'm trying to stay away from pasta, but I do like the good chicken margarita, chicken mozilla, steak, which I never had before, stuff like that.
Well, wasn't that a great video, everybody? That was an absolute awesome video where we went out and worked with the people, supported to see what they do every day and just get a good feel of what it is that they like so much about their jobs. And we want to make sure, again, as I was saying, if it's the right fit. And as we see, it's definitely the right fit. So remember, if you need more information about who we are and what we do and the people that we support, the list is here as far as the entire job development team. This team, again, is willing to work and to help you and assist you in any way you can. I would love to take any questions at this time in any areas that you may feel that's important to you and your family, from high school, from transition to adult services. What does that look like? Any questions that you have, we are here tonight to answer for you. So do we have any questions in the chat?
Diana, there isn't any question in the chat at the moment. Oh, yes, there is. Says Marianne, is there a number that parents can get for DRS?
You can contact our office at area code 708-409-8800 for the Westchester office.
Marianne, can you tell us a little bit how that connection works for transitioning? Like if someone is transitioning out of high school, how do we connect them with the adult services as far as vocational services? I know they start through maybe a STEPS program where
Yes.
DRS is in the high schools, but how do you make that exiting transition for that, you know, that IEP when they're getting ready to exit
Sure.
out?
If they're already hooked with a transition specialist in the high school, then their case would be transferred to the adult office for adult services. If they're not, and there is not a transition specialist at that high school, when students have their last IEP meeting, they can invite DRS to that IEP meeting on that invite. And we can end up coming to meet with the student and their family at that last IEP meeting. So that's one way. If for some reason that they're not able to get the DRS office, you can end up, contacting us.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we would be able to, have an appointment to discuss, services.
Okay. Okay, so is it, and is it helpful for the employment service team, myself, to come out during those IEPs, during that transition process, to speak with the parents and the guardians to help make the transition a little bit easier and give them that view of what it looks like in the adult service world?
Absolutely, absolutely. I've seen a lot of different agencies that are invited into, the IEP meetings for the student at the high school. So absolutely. So they understand, the difference of what services are offered at the high school level, but what services that are available at the adult level.
Right. I am, Sharon, I don't know if we're experiencing a little bit of difficulties, but I am having people are literally texting my phone saying they're trying to put questions in the chat and they're unable to submit their questions.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. There is one in the Q&A that I'll read. And in the meantime, if someone does have a question, you can also raise your hand and we can unmute you as another option. And while we're answering the next question, I'll look back to see if I can fix anything about the chat.
Okay.
Sharon, if you can answer, if you can fix the chat, Deanna and Marianne, I know there may be people on here for the webinar who are going, my son, my daughter doesn't fit the criteria for the people that we just saw on the videos. I think it will be important that our attendees can understand, even people with significant needs can work. So if you can kind of, help our attendees understand, how do you go through that process and how do we make sure we focus on what people can do and what and not what they cannot do in order to be successful?
Well, we usually focus on what their interests, their abilities, in terms of looking for jobs. And if an individual hasn't worked before, we can do job shadowing. We can also do some vocational testing to see where their interests and their skills lie, because we want to make sure that it's a job that they can do and they're successful and they like it. Because when those three different variables are there, it's more likely that the individual will be able to stay at that particular job. If you have an individual that needs some training for a particular job, we can end up finding that for that individual. So.
And just let me kind of piggyback off what Marianne said. As far as if you think, can they work, or I'm not sure because of the disability. I mean, here at RGA, we feel with the right support, anybody can work. And we service people with all different types of disability, including intellectual disabilities. So also, we even work with people who what we call returning citizens. So that means that can be someone who may have gotten in trouble a little bit with the law, first-time offender, somebody like that, but they want to get back on their feet. They want to get back out in the workforce. Marianne, once she receives that referral and refer that person to us, that intake process starts immediately. We start our process within 24 hours of receiving that referral from DRS. We open their case right away. We meet them where they are. We meet them out in the community. We assess that job interest. We talk about what gets you up every morning, what drives you every day. Why do you want to work? What it is that brings you here today. We want them to be a part of this process. So it's just not that the job developers want them to have this job. We know this is what they want, and we want to make sure that they have the right fit for the right employer. We work with over 150 employers throughout DuPage County and surrounding counties. So with all the employers that we work with, you best believe we're going to find that right fit for that right person and make sure that they're very successful. We understand that the guardians, they really have that sense of, oh my God, we need help. How can you help us? Especially when it comes to bridging that gap between high school and adult services. We do presentations where we go out and we talk to the schools, we talk to the high schools, we talk to the families, guardians, teachers, faculty members, anyone that has a part of this person's life. We want to make sure that they have the right information once they leave high school and understanding what adult service look like. It looks very different than in high school. Whereas you have the job coaches who may have got them a job in high school, some of the high school job coaches, and they stay with them the entire time. And that seems like that's a good fit for them while they're in school, but sometimes it can be a barrier. And when I say a barrier, it's because what we're trying to do is promote independence and promote them to be able to do this on their own. And with that help of Ray Graham, with that help of DRS and transitioning into their own as a whole, you know, as far as the job. So we want them to have that sense of independence, just like Anthony talked about, just like Kristen talked about, you know, the sense of having money and being able to do the things that they want to do, you know, once they finish work and get off work. You heard Anthony say, you know, he loved it because he get to come to work every day. He don't have to be at home all the time. So, you know, with the people that he may live with, or, you know, so that's a wonderful thing. And we want to make sure that they have the right tools and the right information in place. And this is why we teach job exploration classes. Debbie touched a little bit on those jobs exploration classes. These classes are to prepare you for that success. These classes are to identify. This is where we identify those skill sets and the people that we know who can work in a community, but may have never been given a chance to work in the community. So through these classes, we are able to see, okay, we understand this is what you want. You want to work, but you may not know how to convey that to us. So some of the curriculum that we teach is proper hygiene. What you got to look good when you go out there looking for a job. Social security identification process, that is crucial. I can't tell you how many times we've had people who go out looking for jobs, and we like, yes, they got the job, the employer offered them the job, and the first thing they say is, okay, we want to make a copy of your social security card and your ID card. And it's either expired or they don't have it. So these are some of the tools and skills that we teach them that they need to have. Or they may say, oh, it's in, my mom has it. They don't even know what it looks like. They don't know the numbers, you know. And as we know in the workforce, you have to have this identification to, you know, to get a job. Sexual harassment in the workplace. You know, it's sad to say, but we have had some students who have lost their jobs due to what the employer would say would be sexual harassment because they touched too much or they hugged too much, because they were allowed to do that in high school. They were allowed to do that through their services where it was okay. Whereas now you out in adult services, where you out in the workforce and you out in the community, and it's no longer allowed. So before we destroy someone's dream job, we want to give them the right information and the right tools to move in the right direction when it comes to the appropriateness in the workplace. Transportation. As we know, transportation is huge. It's a huge barrier for a lot of the people that we support. DRS, Marianne, I mean, you can confess to this. We go through a lot of, oh, I lost my job because I didn't have a proper transportation. I couldn't make it to work, or I don't know how I'm gonna get to work. So we do transportation training. We try to train our people that we support and to how to contact if you're going through Ride Your Page or AD Pace or what have you, how to get that information ahead of time so we can make sure that you get to work and get to work on time. Because in the end, how can you keep a job if you can't even get to work? It's not going to happen. So these are some of the curriculums that we go through as well. We talk about attitude, you know, the appropriate attitude in the workplace, what the do's and the don'ts in the workplace, and job coaching. Job coaching is huge. We have a wonderful job coach by the name of Kate Harris. Kate goes out, and I tell you, when she forged these relationships and partnerships with employers, it's absolutely amazing. Our job developers, we do job coaching as well. I've went out and done job coaching myself because I believe in success. I believe, again, with the right support, people can work. And so when Kay goes out and forges those relationships and does that on-the-job training, Debbie touched a little bit about the on-the-job training. On-the-job training is what is going to keep you employed, okay? And we know there are a lot of you out there who say, well, you know, I don't feel I need all of this. I don't feel I need, you know, all this training and all, and that's understandable. You may be very well capable of navigating how your success plays out in the workplace. But what we will do is behind the scenes, and Marianne at DRS has allowed us to do that, where we are behind the scenes and you can contact us at any time and we will help you advocate for yourself if you need to, if there's a schedule change or if there's a new manager and they really just, you're not vibing, as we say, with that new manager. How do I connect and build that natural support with my manager without bringing in that job coach or without bringing in DRS? I want to be able to do this on our own. So Marianne gives us that opportunity to work behind the scenes with you. We work with several grants right now. One of our grants is called a milestone grant. This grant serves people who we think that they just need that interviewing skills. They just need that brush off. They may haven't interviewed in a long time. They've had jobs in the past. They just need to get through that process. So this is a very short-term grant, where it's a 90 days. So after 15 days, that means you're doing very well. You've made 15 days on a job. That 45th day hit, there's another milestone for you. Okay, that 90 day, that's when we all come to the table. Myself, Marianne, the person supported, and say, hey, you've done this, you got this. And we, at that point, we say, here we are if you need us, but we are going to fade out and let you do what we know that you can do. And a lot of our people who has under that milestone grant, they have surpassed 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. We have employers saying, oh my God, can you please send me someone else that's like John? Send me someone else that's like, you know, Mary or someone. And then we also have what we call a supportive employment grant. Now, this grant is for people who have more support needs, that they feel, yes, I can work, but I do need that help to get me through the process of learning my job, connecting with that employer, and connecting with the co-workers around me to learn my job. Now, that grant is through phases. And we have phases where they begin the intake process, where we start immediately the assessment. What barriers we may run into when we're looking for them a job. So this assessment may take a while, or it may take very little time and they get a job right away, but it doesn't stop there. This grant can run up until almost a year, 9 months to a year, depending on how well they're doing. And wherever they stop, unfortunately, if the job ends at phase 6, that's where we stop. But if we need to pick up again, we will. The whole goal is success. And no matter what we do, this is how we help people become successful. We work with the townships. We have grants through the township. Right now, we have a grant through Bloomingdale Township, where we teach our job exploration classes, where we go out and do presentations, where we talk to parents, guardians, residents of Bloomingdale to increase that mindset of I can do this, I can get this job, I know I can do it. And the only way we can do this is to continue our outreach. So we're working currently with the 708 mental health boards to try to get referendums passed in order to put these counties and say, hey, state funds is there, but also we have our local funds is there as well that we can tap into and put focused programs like job exploration classes in the play, outreach events in the play, and utilize those funds to really make an impact in getting people jobs. And so that's why we're here to help, and that's what we want to do. If you have more questions, we can go ahead and answer some questions. I can talk about employment all day long. So I'll stop. I'll stop and start looking at some questions.
Thank you, Diana. Great information. There are some questions in the Q&A as well as the chat, and then there's a participant with their hand raised. So I thought maybe I'd start in the Q&A. Some of the questions in the Q&A have been answered within the Q&A, but in case there's a participant that's not able to access that, I thought maybe I'd read that, and then if anybody'd like to add anything to those answers, of course, please feel free. So the first one in the Q&A was initially for Marianne, and it asked if a person was not diagnosed, but the family believes the person has some type of disability, would DRS supply testing as well if we refer the customer to DRS?
Yes, yes, we can. We can have them tested to diagnose. If they, have an idea of, well, they have a learning disability, but they never were tested in school, yes, we can.
Thank you. Marianne, you also answered in the Q&A the next question, but open it again to you and to other panelists. Someone asked, what is the biggest roadblock in finding jobs?
I put the transportation because a lot of the customers that I've worked with during the years that's been the biggest barrier of, getting to and from the job.
There were a few questions related to transportation, both in the Q&A and in the chat. Some, and I think Diana, I believe you've answered them, but in case anybody wanted to clarify, one of the questions was, does RGA, or Graham Association, assist with transportation to and from work?
Yes, we do offer assistance with transportation training to and from work. And Bob, he's on tonight. He is our transportation, as we call him, our liaison between Ride DuPage and Ray Graham and DRS. He does awesome work with getting people supported set up with transportation, and just making sure once we get that schedule from the employer, we immediately take that schedule to Bob and say, hey, Bob, they start on this day. I've never seen anybody who can move so fast, because a lot of times those employers want you to start and say, can you start the next day? If anybody can get you transportation set up fast, it's Bob Griffin. and he works very well with transportation and getting it set up for you to get to and from work. So yes, we do offer transportation training, but an ultimate goal is we want you to be able to conduct this independently. So once, your partnership, well, not even partnership, because we're going to continue with that, but to show that independence, we want you to be able to navigate that on your own as well. And we will help you with that. We know it's tough. I can't even stress how tough transportation has become. Having just Ride DuPage, it really is all the transportation that we have. And like in Will County, we barely have any transportation. We have parents and Patricia and Bridget, who are our job developers for the Will County area. When I say they do an excellent job at rallying families and guardians and parents to help out with those transportation issues and helping those families, helping them get back and forth to work. They have gotten to the point the parents see the need, and they make sure that the parents understand, yes, we're here to support them, but we got to work in conjunction as a team. And that means parents got to fall in line along with DRS, along with the person supported. We all working together to create this success for this person that's being supported through employment.
Thank you. And yes, Bob has been my go-to as well with a number of questions in that area.
Hey, Deanna, can I
Mhm.
just jump in? When
Sure.
we go into the schools and when we do the exploration classes, because I've done them, we go over transportation too. So we work with the teachers too, because I bounce things off teachers, they bounce things off me. So it's a community job. So everybody's involved.
Takes a team.
Team job.
Yeah. Another question in the Q&A It was asked, if someone has home-based services and has worked but lost their job, how can a family get started with the process? And then there's a second part to that. Does the waiver pay?
Okay, so this is how it worked. If someone had home-based services and they lost their job, what we would want to do at this point is open their case under Department of Rehab Services. They will go through that intake process to get their case open, which could be Mary Ann Peck, which can be any other counselors throughout the DuPage County. So we would get their case open. They will go through that intake process with Mary Ann Peck. Once that process is completed, then they will come to Ray Graham and work with the employment team under a new grant. That grant can be Milestone, that grant can be SEP, Supportive Employment. Once they have become successful under those grants, then we can, at that time, what we call a successful closure, which means we would need a closure letter from DRS, and Miriam, you can help me out if you want, a closure letter from DRS, and then we can move forward with open their case again under home-based services under 39, what they call 39U, the waiver, SEP. And that services will start only for job coaching. That services is no longer for job development. So that's why they would need to go back through that DRS process again. Is that about clear, Mary Ann? You think that's correct?
You usually when you need an additional coaching after the time that you've went through SEP services with DRS, if you want to get those dollars, those home-based dollars used for job coaching after, you have to have a closure letter from DRS to take to that agency to get that funding to be able to provide that job coaching. And if you are receiving PUNs, you can't use those PUNs funds towards finding a job while you have a case open with DRS. It's after the case is closed with DRS, you can use those PUNs funds towards coaching or any other vocational stuff.
Thank you. Maybe similar, someone asked, does a person lose their public benefits once they start a job?
Okay, now this is where it can, and Mary Ann, you can help me with this, but this is where it can be a little tricky, depending on whatever benefits that you may be receiving, if that's Social Security disability insurance or that's Social Security insurance. It can affect your benefits depending on how many hours that you work. And this is why when we go in to interviews with people that we support and getting jobs, we talk about those things that may affect, because what we don't want to do, we don't want to affect their benefits. So we really opt a lot of times out of full-time. They may say, I don't think I can work full-time, and they may not even be able to work full-time. So we don't want to go for a full-time position that may actually affect their benefits, where we can stay under that allowed amount of hours. And I'm not sure what those hours are with Social Security right now, but there's allowed amount of hours that you can stay under in order to not have your benefits affected. So, and we work very well with the employers to make sure that that does not happen. It has not happened on our watch, and we've been in business for 30-something years with employment.
Also, too, it depends not only the hours, if you're looking at trying to keep the cash benefits or the health insurance. And a lot of times people are concerned not so much with the cash benefits, but the actual health insurance, whether it's Medicare or Medicaid. And you with SSI, it may be that the cash benefit decreases, but you still receive the Medicaid, that you're still eligible to receive that. Now with SSDI, you have 9 trial work months, right, and they do not have to be consecutive, but if you have 9 trial months where you can make, the income and the benefits, you'll still receive those cash benefits in those 9 trial months. Now, after that, the cash benefit may be decreased, but you're still receiving the Medicare benefits.
Right. Marianne, just really quickly, before we move like to the next question, if you can just tell me a little bit about, and this is a tricky one for us as well. We don't know a whole lot about Ticket to Work. Can you give us a little bit of information in regards to Ticket to Work?
Sure.
How does that work?
Ticket to Work was put out by Social Security to help people to get back to work. And the ticket, the ticket that they supposedly are supposed to have, it used to be a physical ticket where they bring to the intake.
I remember.
Not a physical ticket anymore, but it allows them to choose what services they need to be able to go to work and help with work incentives to help them also to be able to go to work.
And now do you get that ticket through Social Security?
Yes.
Is that who issues the ticket?
Social Security issues a ticket. Now you can choose to use the ticket or not.
Oh, okay.
While you're using the ticket and you assign it, whether it's to us or to you guys, during that time while they're receiving services, they won't have the disability review.
Oh,
Once
okay.
their case is closed, they'll receive a letter from Social Security in terms of, showing what progress and whatnot they are to their employment goal.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other questions, Sharon? I did have one more question for Marianne, but I don't want to just kind of take over.
Oh, feel free, but yes, there's another question in the Q&A, and then we have someone with their hand up and several in the chat. So
Okay,
a
all right.
lot coming your way, or all the panelists' way. Thank you, everyone, so far for answering all these questions. Someone asked, once employed, how long are they supported on the job?
Okay, so that would depend on the grant that they're being funded under. If they're being funded under DRS's grants, again, like I said, there's a milestone grant where that grant is funded through 90 days, and that's 90 days of success. In the event they lose a job up before those 90 days are up, then wherever that left off, it starts over, the count starts over as far as how that ends. And that's our least supported grant. So if someone have, severe needs, or they really need the help, or they're just learning the first job, or they're fresh out of high school, ain't never had a job, then that grant can run up to almost 12 months through these phases that they go through, and to ensure that they are successful in meeting, that success at the end. We want to make sure that if we have to come back in, and there's a job retention piece to that. So in the event we have to come back because we feel, oh, they did great for these 90 days, and then something happened. So anything can happen. A manager has switched hands, more duties were added on, we've closed the case out, and then I get on that phone and I say, Marianne, we need help. We need this person under what we call a job retention voucher. So that's not any grant, it's a voucher that comes from local dollars. Am I correct, Marianne, through the local office?
It comes from the local DRSO office in a voucher for those, whether it's job coaching hours to help that individual to maintain that job and get over what the issue is, that they're no longer at risk to lose their job.
Exactly. And we also, Sharon, offer whoever asking at that point, if once those funds are exhausted, if they qualify for that waiver, then we will put them under that waiver, now, which is the 39U waiver through SCP DDD waiver. Now that waiver can run for extended period of time. As long as they're on the job, they can stay under that waiver and they will have that support. And then there's also private pay. We offer through a private pay. If you decide, I've been through the DRS system, I've been through the waiver, I just kind of want to do this privately. I just want to go through private pay. We do have a private pay program where we will assign you to a job coach who will work with you privately into getting you the job that you want or the coaching needs that you need. We're here for the long haul. So whatever you need.
Thank you. And as you were speaking, I think it triggered someone's thoughts about vouchers. Do you still use transportation vouchers?
Mary Ann, I think that's you.
I know that some offices do. We do provide funds for transportation. So we do that. If you're thinking of like the taxi cab vouchers, I know that the DRS office in Downers Grove was doing that. In our office, we do the funds through a voucher, whether it's bus for funding for a bus pass or train pass. Or
Mary
cab.
Ann, okay, really quick, when it comes to uniform, you know, sometimes jobs, they want you to have uniforms and you have to, sometimes you have to pay for them to get these uniforms, or that first, you know, trying to get that first initial paycheck. I remember a long time ago, DRS used to help with that. Is that still something that you guys do initially
Yes.
to help out?
Yes,
Okay.
we do help with uniforms, shoes. I had an individual that had to get a back brace in order to do, like, if there's you know, if they're working in a warehouse and whatnot. So I have had that. So we still do that.
Okay.
Great. We've had a very patient participant with their hand up for a little bit. So, Joseph, I'm going to unmute you. If you'd like to ask you, if you still have the question and would like to ask it live, please feel free. You should be unmuted, Joseph, if you're still want to ask that question.
Okay. Could everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Cerrone, job developer. I just kind of want to piggyback from something Deanna said about, you know, if people have the right support, you know, they like to go to work and we're here to help them. Actually, I have a young lady that I'm working with who's legally blind, and I assisted her in a disability job fair this week. She was looking for a customer service role. So we spoke with Social Security, and when the event was over, we were sitting outside waiting for her transportation, and the Social Security people were so impressed they came out to speak to her. Now she has an interview Monday morning.
Oh, nice.
So I'm so happy for her. It's certainly not easy in our field of work sometimes. So I was really delighted by that. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. And speaking of, which is really wonderful, Joe, and that's great. We do also work with BBS, which is Bureau of the Blind Services. Mary, can you just touch a little bit on how those services work as far as if they need an interpreter, you know, that aspect of it? Because a lot of the people we support and families, they don't know that they can go to somebody if, you know, if they have someone with a hearing disability or, you know, a blindness or something. So can you touch a little bit on that? Thanks.
Bureau of Blind Services is a bureau within DRS that works with individuals whose primary disability is blindness or visual impairment, and they help them find employment. They also can purchase any kind of assistive tech to help them on the job, or if they're going through training. So that they also, if an individual has newly blind, they can also send them for training to use assistive tech devices, orientation and mobility training, and that's usually offered through Icree Wood, which is across from the Chicago Lighthouse. Within DRS, we also have counselors who are rehab counselors for the deaf and hard of hearing. And those counselors work with individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing, where they may sign, they may use a hearing aid. And they work with them and help finding work, and also helping them to, you know, get devices to help them be able to work and be able to go to school so that they can train for a particular job. So those are areas that that we have within our agency.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks very much, everyone. A question from the chat.
Okay.
I think this is directed to you, Diana. What is the difference between an employment specialist and a job developer?
Well, when it comes down to Ray Graham's ES department, nothing. We all do the same work. There's no difference in the administrative title that I hold. We all do the same thing. Employment specialist, if you just want to classify, just to specify, that is the person who goes out and actually train the person on the job. I talked about Kate, who is awesome at doing that and forging those relationships. And that's training them to learn the job, how to keep the job, but also the job developers, they do the same thing as well. Once that person get a job, geographically, the way I try to set things up in our department, geographically, if a job developer is in the area of Will County, like Patricia and Bridget, then they tend to support the people that they have on their caseload, and they get the jobs. Once they get them the jobs, they immediately go into job coaching. Now, if it becomes too much, then yes, we reach out as a team and we work together in coalition as a team to make sure that everyone's successful. That means if someone's on vacation, Kate will come from Wheaton to Joliet, or we'll have Bob coming from Bensonville to Romeoville, or I'll come from Romeoville to Westchester. Wherever we need to go, we make sure that that person is, the last thing they need to worry about is how we're going to help them. Okay, they got enough on their plate. So we don't ever want that to be an issue in our department. And this is what set us apart from the rest of the CRPs, which is community rehab providers, other providers.
Deanna, can I just jump in?
Sure.
We do work as a team. There is many times I've done job coaching for another employment specialist, and they've done the same for me. So we rely on each other to make the employer happy and to make sure that we have a successful outcome for all individuals.
It takes a team. Well, we do have some more questions in the chat, which some of which we've maybe slightly answered. I'd like to come back to those in a second, but Kristen, who you all remember was in the video,
Yeah.
has raised her hand, and she is asked to be unmuted so she can talk a little bit more about her job. So Kristen, we have a few minutes left in the presentation. If you'd like to take a couple of those, I'm going to unmute you. I hope I just did that. Feel free.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
go
Hi,
right ahead.
Kristen.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
I'm Kristen. You probably heard my video.
Yes, it was a beautiful video. Thank you for sharing.
Of course. Well, I had 3 other jobs that I did work for. 2 of them didn't work out because of COVID, and the other one was because we didn't have like any people coming in. Business was slow. And I got very, very upset because I had tried so hard on finding a job, and I just got frustrated with all 3. So I've been going to my Olive Garden at Fox Valley Mall with all my friends, and I decided, hey, this is the best place for me to apply. So I got a job at Olive Garden, and I'm loving it. I'm a hostess.
Oh, awesome.
I love Bridget Mason.
Bridget is
She's
one of
my-
our job developers, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I love Bridget. She's the nicest lady.
Great. I'm glad you got a great relationship going with her. And you know, Kristen, COVID has been very hard, and just to show the dedication and the drive that you have, a lot of people just stopped. They didn't even want to try to look for work anymore. So, I mean, really give yourself a round of applause for just getting back out there and say, hey, I'm not going to let anything stop me from where I want to go in life. So I know it was frustrating in the beginning, but look at you now.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
Once I got hired, I was so excited to tell my family and friends about that I got in the job, and they were just so happy for me because if it wasn't for me or for anybody or for Ray Graham, I don't know what I would have done. So I am very lucky.
Well, congratulations, Kristen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. That, I mean, that really hits home with us. This is how we do our celebration. When we hear success stories like that, it just really touches our heart, and we know we're doing the right thing and for the right reason.
Congratulations, Kristen. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I will.
Yes, and I just unmuted Bridget, who had her hand up. So I thought it would be fitting to ask Bridget to also say or ask what she would like to, since you just mentioned how wonderful she is.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Bridget.
Okay. Hi, Christian. I'm glad that you were able to get on, and I just want to say thank you so much for your kind words, Christian. I appreciate it, and you are definitely a pleasure to work with. So thank you. I also just wanted to kind of piggyback about the question with what was the difference between employment specialist and job developer. When Diana got to speak, and I was like, okay, good. She took the words right out of my mouth. Is that it's really like, as Diana said, it's nothing. It's basically just the title, because just one interesting thing, when we had met, Diana set up a meeting for us to meet with Joseph. And it was just so impressive to hear the different type of qualifications that Joseph had. He talked about working with the homeless. He talked about counseling, and he talked about all these different entities that he had had with his previous employers. And one of the things I said to Joseph was, well, you see all those credentials you have, all those credentials you're going to be working in right here at Ray Graham with every last one of them. So, you know, with that being said, is that, you know, employment specialists, job developers, basically, it's just a title. We all do the same thing. Like Diana said, job coaching, job development, making sure that it is the right fit. The person is maintained on their job. We're counselors, teachers, educators. We're just everything. And we enjoy being everything as well. So and then when you hear somebody like Christian and Anthony, you see those videos, that really what makes our job very rewarding. It's never been about the title. It's just been about the work and the heart. So I just wanted to say that too as well.
Thank you so much, Bridget. Thank you. Kristen, before we move on to other questions, I don't know if you have the chat open, but there's a couple chats related to the story you shared. And someone said we need more people like you in the workforce. Thank you for sharing your story. Someone else said, so proud of you. Thank you for sharing your story. Make sure that you got that feedback. All right, on to a few other questions. There's some that are similar, so I'm going to do my best to kind of pull them together. But there's people asking kind of about, I had a job, but I lost a job. And some of the questions are related to what kind of advice would you have if I had to leave my job after being there for 2 months? And then another part was, if I've been terminated from my job, do I have to reapply for DRS support, or does RGA support me to find another job depending on why I lost my job? So maybe first, you know, after 2 months, I had to leave my job. What advice do you have?
Okay, so if you have to leave your job after 2 months, I'm wondering if that was the right fit for you. So what we would want to do at this time, and it may sum it all up, what we would need to do is if you're under DRS and you're working with our employment team, we immediately want to have a staffing, what we call a meeting with yourself, with DRS. These are the people that's on your team to help you to kind of figure out what went wrong. Where did we go wrong? It could have been some things that you didn't convey to us initially, as far as, you know, what you wanted to do. And we may, and this is why I want to make sure that it's the right fit. Because I'm gonna tell you, a long time ago when I first started, when I say retention rate, that means people who keep their jobs. We didn't have a really high retention rate because we found later that the person we were supporting was just kind of wanted to say, well, the job developer think I should have this job, so I'm gonna go ahead and try it. Although in my mind, that's not really what I want to do. So we will really go through that assessment inventory that we do initially in that intake process to make sure that this is not a 2-month job, that this is a job that you want and this is a job that you want to have. And if you find immediately, this is very important, once you start the job and you feel that something's wrong, the culture's not right, we need to know right away so we can come in and we can help. And any job developer who's on tonight, you can come in and, you know, and talk about how do we go in and help someone when a situation occurs like that. What do we do in a situation like that? Any job developer can, Bridget, if you want to take the lead on that, just to tell them, you know, what is it that you would do in speaking with that employer to maybe salvage that job if that's what the person wants.
I do apologize. If you could repeat that, Dayana, I had to get up and take care of the baby, so I thought I heard.
That's okay. That's okay.
I wasn't sure.
So the question was, I had a job for 2 months and I lost my job. What advice would you give? So, and one of the things that I was saying is we may want to go in and find out what's the problem. Why is this happening between the employer and the person supporting? So I would just want you to kind of make that connection on how would you go in and kind of resolve that, or even talk about where that employee is, because you don't want to lose the relationship with the employer either, but you want to make sure the person we're supporting is successful and happy with that job.
Absolutely. And one of the things, if there was a situation and a person that we supported had a job for 2 months and then they lose that job, one of the things we would want to find out is to make sure that that was the right job for that person. A lot of times that's why we don't like to go out because a company is hiring. Oh, there's a place hiring, let's just run over here. We want to make sure that the job that the person we support, that's the job that they get up. They look forward to, you know, getting up and go to every day, the same thing that what we do. And that's some of the things I always talk about. And as far as with the relationship with the employer, after getting permission, letting the person know that, is it okay for me to go and talk to your previous employer? I would go in to find out, is there something that we could have done better to assist that customer in order to let them know that, yes, we do care. We do understand that everybody don't work out sometimes. And if they don't, we need to go back and sit down at the table to kind of find out what, you know, went wrong so that it don't happen again, because the last thing we want to do is set anybody up for failure. So that would be a way to approach it.
Kristen, I see you had your hand up. Did you want to add something to what Bridget was saying?
Bridget had a big surprise for all my managers and my co-workers at Olive Garden. And I didn't see it until she actually came in. So Bridget presented a certificate to Olive Garden for hiring me.
That's awesome. That's how we keep our relationships. We want to show the employers that we appreciate what they do as well, and being a part of the community and helping people like yourself, Kristen, to gain the success in employment.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen.
Extending oh, sorry, go ahead, Kristen.
Thank you, Bridget.
You're very welcome.
Good.
Kind of extending the question on jobs and loss of jobs. Someone asked, what if someone who has lost multiple jobs and DRS cannot provide for funding? What realistically can be done perhaps with waiver funding.
Marianne, you want to take that lead on why would DRS not continue to fund?
I would have to know like what happened, you
Mhm.
know, because most of the time, you know, when we get a referral, we end up, you know, scheduling the intake, and in that intake, we want to know what happened with each of those jobs, and was it a, you know, something that the individual did? Was it something in the work environment? Was it a supervisor or a coworker? So we want to know what was the reasoning of losing those multiple jobs. And in terms of funding, most of the people get funded. I mean,
Right.
you know, unless the only reason that they wouldn't is if they want to use the same provider in less than a year. But that would be the only reason, you know, that they wouldn't get funded to use that same provider if it's less than a year. But if it's over a year, they can use that same provider. You know, I'd want to know why they're losing that job. So it
Right.
might be something, maybe it's a bad fit. Maybe it's something that, maybe initially when they got the job, maybe they didn't have the supports. So there'd be a number of factors that you'd want to look before you say, oh, you know, we can't fund you.
Thank you. This has been extremely helpful to go through the Q&A and the chat. I see one more question, and I'll double check that it is one more, but the one that I'm seeing that we haven't specifically gotten to, first of all says, hey, Diana, can you share how we support people to build on their strengths as far as being outspoken and having difficulty resolving conflicts in positive manners?
Okay, and this is where your job developer is going to play a huge role in how to navigate and talk to your employer and how to bridge a relationship and forge a relationship with your employer and the person and your coworkers that you may be working with. And also what comes along with that is the right fit. So if you're a person who does not like to be around people and you're kind of shy and you don't want all of that attention, or you don't want that fast pace, and you want to kind of be kind of low key or behind the scenes, this is when we really get together as a team and what we call thinking outside the box. We have to think what it is that you want and then build around those type of tools that you need to be successful in the workplace. So if you want to, have that relationship with your employer and you want to be able to speak out, then a job developer can help you advocate, what we call advocate for yourself. And maybe go with you the first time around to talk with the employer about maybe a schedule change, or maybe I want to ask for vacation, or, a holiday off, but I'm scared to talk to my manager. We will help you navigate through that. And then once we're done, you'll be able to access the manager that you need. You'll have that go-to person that you need to talk to. And if you find that that's not happening, we want to know about it so we can come back in and make sure that that partnership and that relationship stays strong. Bridget, you want to add something to that?
Yes, just to add to as well, that we also provide a lot of role playing, mock interviews, because we want to make sure that communication is always respectful on both ends. So those are some of the things that we will meet with the customer and say, find out what the concerns are, or what is it that they would like to approach the employee with. And then we'll sit down and do a little brief role playing, what's appropriate and what's not. So that usually we find that to be a very good asset to do. And it provides a lot of confidence too with that person to be able to say, well, if they want us or need us there for support, or to say, you know what, I think I got this on my own, but thank you for showing me. So we do those things too as well.
Deanna, can I bring something up? What I do is
Sure.
I find somebody that they are comfortable with and they talk to them more.
Yeah.
And then we bridge it out.
Yeah, that could be a coworker, that could be a manager, that could be someone that they feel comfortable that they can talk to. Because
Right.
I mean, let's be honest, in a workplace, there's going to be people that you find easy to access and talk with, and then there may be someone that you think, ugh, I don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. I don't want to talk to them.
So,
They scare me, you know. So
so
yeah,
I do that, and then we also practice role play as
exactly.
I'm the manager.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Excellent. Well, thank you. If I'm correct, I believe we've gotten to all the questions in either the Q&A or the chat. If not, please feel free to jump in one of those formats and either clarify, you know, that we didn't get there, or you need a little more information about your question. We've been on this particular PowerPoint page for a while, so I'm thinking everybody's had plenty of time to get all the email addresses for everyone. I'm not even say everyone who is a wonderful team member at Ray Graham Association as part of our Employment Services Department. You've heard lots of accolades, and they're all very true. I think Karen is coming on to help do a little wrap up. And thank you to each and every presenter. While she's doing that, I have the information on the screen. If you do need any CEUs, please email me, Sharon A. at raygraham.org. So that I don't miss your email, please put in the subject line October CEs or CEUs, something similar to that, so that I can, you know, spot it within all my emails and get you a certificate. And we'll aim to do that as soon as possible within the next week. So, thank you again. And Karen, Diana, Marianne, Debbie, anyone, Nicole, anyone who'd like to wrap up or say any last words, please feel free.
Sure. I really want to go ahead and thank our awesome presenters. I'm hoping for all the attendees, you've left at least with something new, a new understanding, and you know, feeling encouraged that no matter what the challenges you face or your loved one faces, at Ray Graham, again, as Deanna said many times, we do believe that with the right supports, really anybody can work. The only thing that we like to really push is if we have schools and school representatives on this call, it is important that we all start working as partners way before the students transition, because school benefits is an entitlement, adult services, very different. But the more we can be able to bridge that gap early and build those partnerships, then we make sure the students who worked so hard don't come out of that great system and then just fall off. So a lot of times families, are not prepared for what the adult service is not, and we run into issues like that. The other piece is you heard from the employment team at Ray Graham Association emphasize the real need of working together as one team. So while we may not be able to do the transportation, we can be able to find people jobs, but we need every single person to play their role in order to make people successful. It's not always easy, but if we work together, I can assure you, we always find a solution. The other piece about Ray Graham Association, we provide a lot of supports and services, to all, kinds of people, support needs and things like that. If today you are sitting, listening to this and saying, I don't know where my family member kind of fits in, you have the contact information, just call one of those numbers, and we will be able to direct you to the right place. Whether you have funding, you don't have funding, you have challenges. And sometimes, we always tell people we may not be able to provide everything to everyone, but if we don't know what to do, or if we don't have what you need, we will do our very best to connect you to the right supports, because that's why we are in business. Our business is to support people, to be a resource, and to be able to help you to navigate a system that sometimes can be very, very complex. The other thing, I think you've all seen how we work together with DRS and with employers And, with CRPs, it's a team effort. It's not them versus us. And the more we can have employers like the Carey Company, and we can have Marianne and, the ES department, I think we can accomplish a lot of things. So again, thank you very much. We hope you found this very helpful. And one of the things I want to remind you, Ray Graham offers speaker series each year, September through November. We have one more session that's coming up on the 17th. The time for this session will be slightly different. So November 17th will be from 4 to 6, and it will be sort of in the same theme. It's not really employment, but it's really finding a place to belong. So what we want to be, again, is a resource to people in the community, people who may not know where to start, to show them simple ways you can start making those connections, helping people to be a part of a community and really helping people thrive. So hopefully you'll be able to register and we'll be able to see you then. But again, Nicole, Marianne, Diane, Deanna, Deborah, and all the other people that really participated, and Sharon for facilitating. Thank you so much. And hopefully you get a few minutes to go get some dinner or something. But thank you so much for coming today, and we look forward to seeing you in November.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.